Hello and welcome. You know what the best part about doing the review for the previous issue of this book was? I forgot to splice in the first half of the dang review, where I praised the art and stuff, because I really thought the art had some good stuff. There was one sequence in particular I really loved, uh, except the version of the video that went up was just the rant that went after the, 5 minutes of talking about the good stuff in the book. Like how it was well written and how it was well paced. The panels were constructed great. The coloring is fantastic. Say what you will about Tamara Bonvillain, she does fantastic coloring, and I don't want anybody to take that credit away from her because it's absolutely true. She did that Alien 3 series that looked good. She's doing the art or the coloring in Once and Future issue 1 and also here in issue 2. It looks great. And the use of coloring is fantastic in this book. So thematically, I disagree with what the book's doing because it's just kind of trashing on King Arthur. Although I was pleasantly surprised to see the startling betrayal, and I think I accidentally showed this off on stream. You know what? I'm not going to show it. I'm not going to show it. We're going to skip that, and we'll just cut to dude and his grandmother. Now look at this use of color. The mundane, boring world. It's nighttime. It's in mundane, boring colors. They have great dialogue popping back and forth. That's all well and good. They go inside the structure, and boom, the colors brighten up. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of Coda. Coda was dope. After that first issue, which I thought was pretty rough, that first issue where I was like, man, this book is too cynical, too deconstructionist even for me, that book won me over because it turned around and said, you know what, all that deconstruction we did, that's just to prove to you what a jerk the main character is so that he can go on a redemption arc. It was brilliant. This book is totally jacking that coloring scheme. The mundane, boring, and ugly. The fantastic is brilliant and vibrant. It looks pretty good. So anyway, the bad guys are down there to raise King Arthur. And boy, do they ever. This is the last thing I'm going to show in the book. Oh, I like this. You don't need me pointing a gun at you anymore. So you get one of your own. I've never shot anything before. Yes, because you're a good boy. Don't worry, it's easy. Safety off, point dead, nothing to it. Wah, wah. If only it really was that easy. I think people in entertainment kind of underestimate how difficult it is to actually use a firearm, man. The recoil's a pain. Firearms are heavy. They tire you out. Just being like, it's like you remember that Zorro movie and Antonio Banderas? I think that was Zorro. It was like the first one from gosh, it must have been about 20 years ago now, and he's like being trained by the sword master, and the sword master's like, you know how to use this sword, and he's like, yes, you put the pointy end in the other man. It's not that easy. Nothing is that easy. Now, granted, if you have like a fully automatic weapon, okay, pray and spray might work a little bit because you're gonna have a couple shots on target before the gun tracks up into the ceiling. But yeah, so that's some very British understatement right there. I enjoyed it for that reason, just like I enjoyed King Arthur Rising Out of the Look at this dynamic, crazy angle we're at. It's great. This is pretty good. I dig it. Look at the fantastic greens coming off of him. And gosh, there's one other thing I want to show. Which I got to figure out how I want to show it. I guess we'll show like this. Just of course, Zombie King Arthur is gonna have zombie knights, right? Like I dig it. I'm down for that. Now, what I don't like is, well, no, I take it back. Like the whole white nationalist thing kind of seems like a red herring from the first book. Like that's what those guys look like. Like it's just going to be alt-right Nazis, and we may still go down that road. But I think maybe in this issue it's going to be a little bit different. I'm certainly giving this a chance to win me over some more because I really like the art. I like the core, like how the writing flows. I like the dialogue. I like the coloring. It's all good on every other front. So I already voiced my reservations very strongly in that previous video, which devolved into a rant. So now I'm gonna shut up about that, and I'm gonna enjoy this book, because this book, the way it's built, is definitely worth enjoying. One other thing, my shopman, when I was ordering, I just took this up to the counter and I'm like, yeah. He was like, oh, you want me to put that on your pull list? Because he saw me buy the previous one. And he remembers, man, that dude, he's got a mind like a steel trap that leaks. So sometimes he holds on really tightly to information about my buying habits. And he did here. Anyway, he was all like, hey, let me put that on your pull? And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, you know what? You go ahead. You know, I was just gonna buy the second one to see if I liked it better than the first one, which I do, by the way. I absolutely do. Uh, there's something happens in here that changes my mind about a lot of stuff. Um, I was like, yeah, you know what? Go ahead. And then he said something interesting. Yeah, it's kind of a speculator thing, and that put a pause to me, because the day issue 1 came out, I was in the shop, right? I was in the shop. And it was late. Like, I don't get over to the comic book store until it's late. Like, that's just how I roll. It happens after work, so I go over there, like 6 o'clock or 7 or something. Well, not 7 because he closes at 7, but like 6, 6:30, something like that. And there was still a stack of them. He must have had like 8 or something. There were at least 5 still on the shelf after the one I picked up for issue 1. And I think that day I went over to Westfield Comics to get something else. I may be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure I went over to Westfield Comics too. And they also had several still on the shelf. Usually a book that people are speculating on, it's like Batman, whatever the one was recently where something startling happened and Damien witnessed something terrible happening. And it was sold out by the time I got to the store, which is absolutely ludicrous. Come on, people. Let people buy comics. You don't have to go jacking people. Anyway, I digress. So that kind of came as a surprise. I'm like, yeah, the first one's on like its 4th printing or something. And I'm just thinking to myself, wow, really? 4 printings? That's incredible. That's crazy. It's also pretty cool. Like, great. Good for Kieran Gillen. Good for Dan Moore. Good for Tamara Bonvillain. Good for Boom Studios. Good for comic book shops. If you can move that product, good for you. I like a healthy industry where people of all different ideas can get together and compete against each other and all sell books to the people that they want to sell books to. So that's good. I don't really like speculating, but the fact that there's selling, I'm okay with that. I'm down with that. Anyway, that was a total aside. Had nothing to do with the book. The book's pretty good. Check it out. I really enjoy the art. I'm going to just flip back open to King Arthur rising from his grave, like he's just coming straight out of Altered Beast here, man. It's dope. I don't necessarily like his crown, though. I don't think I like that crown. It doesn't feel right to me for King Arthur. But who am I to judge? You all take care of yourselves. Have a great day. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I hope to see you next time. Till then, bye-bye.